Welcome to a story that begins with one of the most familiar coins in American pockets, the Lincoln 1 cent, a coin that millions of people handled every day without ever imagining that hidden among them might be a piece of staggering value. Today we shine a light on the 1997 Lincoln Liberty 1 cent from the United States, a coin that on the surface seems ordinary yet in rare circumstances has been discussed as being worth an astounding $3,300,000 or $0.33 million in the collector's market. This coin is more than just copper-plated zinc. It is a piece of history, a snapshot of America in the late 1990s, and a reminder that the smallest things often hold the greatest surprises. Let us begin by stepping back to the origins of the Lincoln cent itself, because the 1997 issue is part of a long and powerful tradition. The Lincoln cent was first struck in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first circulating coin in United States history to feature the portrait of a real person rather than allegorical figures of liberty. The choice of Lincoln was not accidental. He was the president who preserved the Union during the Civil War, the great emancipator who shaped the nation's identity, and a symbol of honesty and strength. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse carries Lincoln's bust in a thoughtful pose, his eyes steady, his hair detailed, and his presence solemn yet inspiring. The reverse of the coin was changed in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Instead of wheat stalks, the back of the coin shows the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., designed by Frank Gasparo. What makes this reverse so fascinating is that within the columns of the memorial you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln himself, meaning the 1997 Lincoln cent portrays the same president on both sides of the same coin. This clever design choice makes the coin unique among world currencies and is one of the subtle details that collectors appreciate deeply. Now let us bring our focus to the specific year 1997. By this time the United States Mint had been producing cents using copper-plated zinc planchets since 1982 because the rising cost of copper made the earlier bronze composition too expensive. A 1997 cent weighs about 2.5 grams and has a core of zinc covered by a thin outer layer of pure copper. When fresh from the press, these coins display a blazing red shine like polished copper wire, but the zinc interior makes them less durable. Over time, exposure to moisture and air can cause bubble streaks and discolorations. This is why finding a 1997 Lincoln cent in pristine, brilliant red condition is rarer than it seems. The 1997 cent was struck in enormous quantities, with over 4 billion pieces coming from the Philadelphia and Denver mints combined. On the surface, this makes the coin extremely common, and in most cases a circulated 1997 cent is only worth its face value. But here is where the story becomes exciting. Value in numismatics is not determined solely by mintage numbers. It depends on rarity within rarity. Among billions of coins, a small handful escape into the world with extraordinary qualities, perfect preservation, or astonishing mint errors. Those few are the coins that collectors chase, the coins that make headlines, the coins that can bring hundreds of thousands or even millions at auction. Let us talk about condition first, because condition is king in the world of coin collecting. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A typical 1997 cent you find in change might grade between fine and extremely fine, with noticeable wear. An uncirculated example pulled from a roll could grade mint state 60 or higher. But coins graded mint state 67 or mint state 68 with full blazing red color are astonishingly rare. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC certify these coins and track their populations. If only a handful exist and a top-grade collectors bid aggressively to secure them. That is why a 1997 Lincoln cent that looks ordinary at first glance could soar in value if it is one of the very few perfect survivors. Then we move to mint errors and varieties, the second pathway to value. Every coin is struck by steel dies under immense pressure. If those dies are slightly misaligned, doubled, or worn, unusual features appear on the coin. For 1997 cents, varieties exist such as double dies where the letters in Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or the dates show clear doubling. This is not a blur or damage from circulation. It is a genuine minting mistake that specialists prize. There are also coins struck off-center where part of the design is missing and a blank crescent of planchet remains. There are broad strikes where the coin was struck without the restraining collar and spread wider than usual. There are wrong planchet strikes where a cent design appears on a planchet intended for a dime or foreign coin, producing a piece with the wrong weight and metal. Each of these errors is rare, and in high-grade examples they command incredible sums of money. Now imagine the combination of both condition and error. A 1997 cent struck with a dramatic double die on a blazing red mint state 68 coin certified by a top grading service would be a showstopper. Collectors would bid fiercely. Auction rooms would buzz. The rarity of such a coin could easily create values that sound unbelievable to the casual observer but are very real in the numismatic world. This is where the stories of $3,300,000 coins are born, because rarity plus demand creates prices that soar far beyond face value. But the story of the 1997 Lincoln cent is not just about money. It is about history and memory. This was a coin circulating in the last years of the 20th century. It passed through the hands of children buying candy at corner stores, parents filling gas tanks, and workers collecting wages. It was part of everyday life in a decade of great change when computers, cell phones, and the internet began to reshape society. Holding a 1997 cent today is holding a tiny time capsule of that era, a piece of the story of ordinary Americans living in extraordinary times. To the collector, the 1997 cent is a challenge and a delight. It reminds us that treasure can still be found in the most common of places. A roll of pennies from the bank, a forgotten jar on a shelf, a handful of change from the grocery store. Somewhere in those ordinary coins may lie the extraordinary. The trick is to look carefully, to study the details, to train the eye. That is the magic of coin collecting. If you happen to own a 1997 Lincoln cent, take a closer look. Hold it under bright light. Tilt it and watch how the luster moves across the surface. Look closely at the date and the letters for doubling. Inspect the edges for unusual shapes. Weigh it if you can. Consider the overall color. If it glows with a fiery red and has no visible marks, or where you may be holding something far rarer than you think. And if you find an obvious error such as off-center striking or doubled lettering, then you may have discovered a coin that could change your life. In the end, the value of the 1997 Liberty Lincoln cent is measured in more than dollars. It is measured in the joy of discovery, the thrill of history, the satisfaction of holding something that connects the past with the present. Yes, some examples have reached values as high as $0.33 million, stunning collectors and non-collectors alike. But even the ordinary coins have worth, because they are part of the story of America, part of the fabric of daily life that often goes unnoticed until one looks closer. So the next time you pick up a penny, do not dismiss it as too small to matter. It might be the gateway to history, to knowledge, and perhaps even to wealth beyond what you expect. The 1997 Lincoln 1 cent reminds us that greatness often hides in plain sight, waiting only for someone curious enough to look.